Every Disney fan thinks their favorite animated classic is all fun, magic, and catchy songs. But what if I told you there's a shadowy side to your childhood favorites, hiding right in plain sight? Over the years, Disney movies have sparked wild accusations, secret symbols, and even near bans that rocked audiences and censors alike. Which beloved film almost vanished because of a hidden message nobody expected? Stick around, because some of these stories will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about Disney. The Lion King. The Lion King roared into theaters as a global phenomenon, but it didn't take long for the magic to meet controversy. Among the epic scenes and soaring music, a single moment sparked an uproar no one saw coming. As Simba collapses on a cliff, dust swirls into the night sky, and soon rumors erupted that animators had slipped a secret word into those glimmering particles. Suddenly, what was meant to be a visual treat became headline news, with parents and watchdogs convinced there was a hidden message aimed at kids. The rumor spread like wildfire, especially once freeze-frame technology let people zoom in and overanalyze every frame. Disney fans argued about what they actually saw, and some TV stations even did their own breakdowns. Disney's official stance? It was just a nod to their special effects team, meant as a harmless inside joke. But the legend grew bigger than the explanation. Did it work as an intentional trick, or just overactive imaginations at play? Either way, the drama became a cultural talking point, overshadowing the film's message of hope and resilience. The Lion King was never pulled from shelves, but this mini-scandal proved just how closely audiences watch and how quickly a classic can become the center of wild theories. Even now, the story about a word in the stars keeps people rewinding and squinting, hoping to catch a glimpse of a secret that might have never been there at all. The Little Mermaid. When The Little Mermaid swam into homes everywhere, it became an instant favorite, but it also brought with it a tidal wave of controversy few could have predicted. The drama started on dry land, with the movie's VHS cover art. A sharp-eyed viewer noticed something off about King Triton's golden castle. Suddenly, word spread that the illustration included an inappropriate shape hidden in the palace's towers, launching the first big Disney cover art scandal. News outlets jumped on the story. Talk shows had a field day, and parents flooded stores with complaints. The debate? Was it a harmless mistake by a tired artist, or a secret message slipped into a family movie cover? Disney was forced to respond, quickly redesigning the cover art for future releases and insisting it was an accident, just a rushed illustration with no hidden intent. But that wasn't all. Rumors spread about a brief blink-and-you'll-miss-it scene during Prince Eric's wedding, with some swearing they spotted something that didn't belong. Once again, Disney made edits for future versions, trying to calm the storm. Despite the fixes, the legend lingered, adding a layer of notoriety to Ariel's classic adventure. The Little Mermaid wasn't banned, but the cover and movie edits became part of Disney history. For some, those controversies were just wild stories. For others, they were proof that even fairy tales could spark real-world debates. One thing's for sure, nobody ever looked at a castle spire the same way again. Aladdin. Aladdin took audiences on a magic carpet ride, but even the wonders of Agrabah couldn't escape controversy. This time, the uproar came from a single line whispered outside Jasmine's balcony. Some parents claimed they heard a strange message, one that sounded like it was telling teens to break the rules. With tape recorders in hand, people played and replayed the scene, convinced that Disney animators had hidden a message right under everyone's noses. The rumor spread fast. Radio shows, newspaper columns, and parent groups demanded answers. Disney quickly clarified. The actual line was just Aladdin telling Raja, "Good kitty, take off and go." But with the audio muddled and the power of suggestion at work, fans still debated what they really heard. As pressure mounted, Disney took no chances. The company re-recorded the audio for later home video versions, making the line crystal clear and removing any chance for confusion. Some fans still joke about rewinding the VHS, searching for clues. This incident showed how quickly a single moment could turn into a national talking point, all because of a misunderstood whisper. Aladdin never faced a ban, but the story became another chapter in Disney's legacy of accidental controversies. Even now, fans remember the scene, not for the adventure or the romance, but for the legend of the whispered warning that almost sent this beloved film into the history books for all the wrong reasons. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who Framed Roger Rabbit is famous for its blend of animated chaos and real-world zaniness, but it also became legendary for one of the wildest scandals in Disney history. After the movie hit VHS, eagle-eyed fans noticed something hidden in the mayhem, a split-second frame during Jessica Rabbit's car crash that sent shockwaves through the Disney community. Rumors spread fast. People said there was an image that didn't belong, and soon news outlets, talk radio, and even local news stations covered the frenzy. Disney, used to being under the microscope, was suddenly in crisis mode. The studio issued a recall for thousands of video cassettes and quickly edited the film for future releases. The incident became a pop culture phenomenon, turning an already outrageous movie into the stuff of urban legend. Fans debated whether the hidden frame was a sneaky joke from an animator or just a mistake. For Disney, it was a wake-up call about how quickly things could get out of hand. Even after the recall, the legend of Roger Rabbit's missing frame kept growing. For some, the story was more exciting than anything in the movie. For Disney, it was a lesson in vigilance. Every frame matters, especially when millions of viewers have freeze frames and pause buttons ready. The incident didn't stop Roger Rabbit from becoming a classic, but it guaranteed the film would always have a bit of notorious history to go along with its wild cartoon magic. The Rescuers. The Rescuers was supposed to be a sweet story about brave little mice on a rescue mission, but for a generation of Disney fans, it's better remembered for an unexpected scandal. It started quietly. Someone watching a home video noticed something odd during the scene where Bernard and Bianca fly through the city in a sardine can. When the tape was slowed down, a background image popped up for a fraction of a second, and it definitely didn't belong in a Disney cartoon. Word spread quickly in the early days of the internet. People swapped screenshots, wrote angry letters, and media outlets picked up the story. Disney was forced into damage control, pulling over 3 million copies of The Rescuers from store shelves and erasing the controversial frames for all future releases. How did it get there? Some speculated it was the work of a prankster animator. Others blamed a careless mistake. Disney stayed silent on the details, but the company acted fast to fix the problem. The movie returned to video stores with the image removed, but the story refused to die. For fans, The Rescuers went from forgotten classic to infamous legend thanks to a split-second scandal. The incident was proof that even the smallest mistake could turn into a big deal when your audience is millions of families with sharp eyes and plenty of curiosity. In the end, The Rescuers survived, but not without leaving a permanent mark on Disney's reputation for wholesome entertainment. Frozen. Frozen became a worldwide sensation with its catchy tunes and message of self-acceptance, but not everyone was ready to let it go. As Elsa's powerful song echoed in homes and theaters, some groups began to claim the movie was sending secret messages to kids. The heart of the controversy was the idea that Elsa's journey and her iconic song carried meanings beyond what met the eye, sparking accusations that the movie was trying to change social values in subtle ways. The debate wasn't just online chatter. Certain organizations demanded the movie be pulled from cinemas and school screenings. They insisted Frozen was more than a fairy tale. It was, in their view, a coded call for social change. Disney stood by its story, insisting the film was about love, courage, and embracing who you are. For a while, the movie was banned or restricted in a few places. News outlets ran heated debates about whether Elsa's story was empowering or controversial. For millions of fans, though, the song Let It Go became an anthem, and the controversy only made the movie more famous. The Frozen debate eventually thawed, and Frozen continued to break box office records. But the story serves as a reminder that no matter how innocent a Disney film may seem, some people will always search for deeper messages hiding just beneath the snow. In the end, Frozen's legacy is a blend of magic, music, and a touch of real-world drama. Hercules. When Disney decided to turn Greek mythology into a musical comedy, nobody expected the film to spark a real-life controversy. Hercules might be a favorite for its humor and high-energy songs, but in Greece, the reaction was anything but cheerful. Greek officials and critics argued that Disney's version twisted their ancient myths and history, accusing the studio of rewriting stories to fit a Western perspective and even embedding messages that clashed with local culture. The debate exploded in the press, with some demanding changes or outright bans before the movie could be shown in Greek theaters. The accusations grew wild. Hercules was accused of everything from disrespecting the gods to subtly pushing political ideas. Disney responded by reminding everyone the film was pure fantasy and not meant to be a history lesson. Despite the uproar, Hercules eventually reached audiences in Greece, though not without lingering bad feelings from some traditionalists. Around the world, the controversy drew even more attention to the movie, with curious viewers eager to see what all the fuss was about. Hercules survived the storm and went on to become a cult favorite. But its journey to the big screen is a reminder that stories inspired by history can quickly become battlegrounds for culture and meaning. Even in animation, ancient legends still have the power to stir up modern debates, especially when Disney magic is involved. Zootopia. Zootopia's world of talking animals and bustling city life might seem innocent on the surface, but beneath the fur and fun, this Disney hit stirred up a storm of controversy. When the movie premiered, fans and critics alike noticed that its story of prejudice, power, and ambition was strikingly familiar to real-life issues. Some claimed the film was packed with coded messages about race, authority, and social justice, sending signals far beyond its kid-friendly exterior. The debate got serious in certain countries, with censors worried that Zootopia's clever allegories might be too much for young minds or too pointed for government approval. Rumors spread that entire scenes were meant to represent specific current events, with the animal characters standing in for people and groups from the real world. Disney held firm, explaining that Zootopia's message was about kindness, acceptance, and overcoming differences. But for a while, bans and edits were considered, with censors in some places demanding changes before they'd allow screenings. The controversy turned Zootopia into a cultural talking point, fueling think pieces and classroom discussions long after its release. In the end, the movie wasn't banned in most places, but the uproar made it clear that animation is never just for kids. Sometimes, a story about a rabbit and a fox is enough to make the whole world look for secrets, messages, and meaning hidden beneath the jokes. Fantasia. Fantasia, Disney's bold blend of animation and classical music, has always been considered a masterpiece, but not every piece of the original film has survived. When Fantasia first hit theaters in 1940, its stunning visuals included scenes and characters that reflected the attitudes of the era. Decades later, those same scenes became the target of fierce criticism, as audiences recognized troubling imagery and suspected hidden messages about race and culture. The segment with the centaurs drew the most fire. As society's values changed, Disney found itself facing calls for censorship and even bans. Some groups argued that the film's artistic flourishes weren't just outdated, but intentionally coded with messages about social hierarchy and exclusion. The backlash grew, and Disney made the decision to quietly remove the offending scenes from all future releases. Even with the edits, Fantasia remained a lightning rod for debate. Fans and critics wondered what else might be hidden in its wild, dreamlike sequences. Was it just old-fashioned storytelling or something more intentional? The film became a case study in how art can be both magical and problematic all at once. Fantasia was never completely banned, but it was forever changed. The story of its edits and controversies proves that even a masterpiece can find itself at the center of a cultural storm, one that leaves a permanent mark on Disney history. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast has always been about breaking spells and seeing the beauty inside, but in recent years, the classic story became the center of a new kind of controversy. When Disney announced that the live-action remake would feature its first openly gay character, some groups and countries immediately raised concerns about hidden messages in the story, claiming that even the original animated film had been dropping subtle hints all along. Social media exploded with debates. Certain countries threatened bans unless Disney cut specific scenes. Some fans and critics even went back to the 1991 classic, dissecting lyrics and character interactions for coded meaning. The debate became less about fairy tales and more about what kind of stories families should see. Disney stood firm, refusing to cut the scenes and explaining that the film's message was always about love in all its forms. While most bans were eventually dropped or ignored, the uproar turned Beauty and the Beast from a romantic fantasy into a cultural battleground. For millions, the film is still a beloved tale as old as time. But for a while, it served as a reminder that even the most magical stories can get caught up in real-world debates about who we are and what we value. Whether or not you ever noticed a hidden message, Beauty and the Beast showed that fairy tales are never as simple as they seem. The Emperor's New Groove. The Emperor's New Groove might look like a goofy romp about a llama-turned-emperor, but in some corners of the world, it became a lightning rod for controversy. Set in an imaginary version of ancient Peru, the film's playful take on magic, spirits, and rituals drew accusations from religious and cultural groups. Critics argued that the movie was mocking ancient beliefs or sneaking in ideas that clashed with their own traditions. Some even went so far as to demand bans or censorship, worried that young audiences would absorb messages about magic and ancient rituals that conflicted with modern faith. The uproar didn't stop Disney from releasing the movie, but it did turn a lighthearted comedy into a talking point among parents and community leaders. Most viewers shrugged off the claims and fell in love with the film's wacky humor and fast-paced story. But for those who saw hidden meanings, The Emperor's New Groove was a reminder that even the silliest stories can stir up deep feelings about culture and belief. In the end, the movie stayed on screens and went on to become a cult favorite, its controversy fading behind the laughter. But the story of its almost ban remains a quirky chapter in Disney's long history of unexpected debates and hidden messages, proving once again that you never know what people might find when they look just a little too closely. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Hunchback of Notre Dame stands out as one of Disney's most daring films, pushing the envelope with its intense themes and complex characters. From the haunting bells of Notre Dame to the struggles of Quasimodo, the movie tackled subjects rarely seen in a Disney release. That boldness nearly got the film banned or censored in several countries, thanks to claims that its darkest moments were loaded with hidden messages. Religious and social groups were especially vocal. They criticized Disney for shining a spotlight on corruption inside church walls and portraying Judge Frollo's internal battles in ways they felt were too mature for young viewers. Some argued that the film was subtly attacking real-life institutions or slipping in messages about power and morality. As pressure built, some regions threatened to pull the movie unless Disney toned down the story or edited out specific scenes. The controversy hit headlines worldwide and sparked fiery debates about how much darkness was too much in a family movie. Disney refused to back down, standing by its vision. The movie stayed in theaters, but the shadow of controversy never completely left. Hunchback proved that Disney could deliver more than just cheerful fairy tales, and that sometimes the boldest stories are the ones that invite the most questions. For fans and critics alike, Quasimodo's tale will always be remembered for pushing boundaries and sparking real conversation. So, there you have it, 12 Disney movies that almost disappeared because of rumors, secret messages, and controversies nobody saw coming. Isn't it wild how a few frames or a whispered line can set off a worldwide debate? Did you ever notice any of these supposed secrets yourself, or do you think it's all just hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe for more hidden Hollywood stories, and remember, magic is always in the details.